Well, can't say I love these games when you play against your former guys, especially a guy that, given this program and this university itself, so much time, both as a player and as a coach. But so maybe I didn't do a very good job, but he did a better job than I did. I thought we had some great practices. I was so excited about the way we were practicing. I actually told you guys I felt good. I'll never do that again. I don't know if you wrote anything because I don't read what you write, unfortunately. But I do. I thought we played like we thought we were going to win the game, and we had 2, 3 turnovers right off the bat. 17 turnovers is should be un-American. I should be arrested for that. And give them credit now, so I'll make sure I take no credit from them. I mean, they played hard, but we threw some balls right to them. I guess they're counted as steals, but it was self-defense. They were protecting themselves from the ball coming at them, and so I was disappointed. You could practice that good, and my first key to the game was, are we mature enough to take the practice to the game? And the answer is no, we were not. And so that's my chore now in the next 5 days. We did not take, usually you don't practice as well, maybe you play better. So that part was disappointing. How in the hell we shot it okay, but how we scored 80 points with 17 turnovers is beyond me. So there was something good there. One of them is you make your free throws, and we didn't get to the line as much, but we made our free throws. I think that was one good thing. We got our fast break going a little bit. I'd like to say it now, here and now, that I want to apologize to our fans. We called over for some extra tickets last night, and there wasn't a ticket to be had, and that never happens. But sometimes over the holidays, people that don't get to see us get to see us. And Doug Wojcik kept saying to me on the bench, it's a shame they don't get to see the exciting brand that we have played with most of the year. It seemed like we were a step slow. And again, maybe as I watched the film, Western had something to do with it. But I had a couple guys that played well. I thought, Jackson Kohler was sick, and unfortunately, he probably had his worst game. He just looked tired the whole game. But he had been sick, and he wanted to hold it from me, so the trainers kind of did. And nothing serious, but he was run down. He looked gassed. So all in all, 17 turnovers is not good. For the most part in the game, we were getting out rebounded most of the game. We ended up winning that by 6 or 7. We only got 54 shots up. We're trying to get 65, but you have 17 turnovers. You should have 8 turnovers. You'd get 8, 9 more shots, and we would have met that goal. So we got some work to do, and so everybody that thinks we're worthy of being a really good team. And I can think of about 15 other Big Ten teams that are in the same boat as we are. And what we do between now and Friday night is going to determine some of that, because for the first time in a while, we've kind of faced some adversity where did not like the way we played. At Memphis, lost that game. I liked the way we played. Kansas, I liked the way we played. I didn't like the way we shot. Today, I didn't like the way we played. So that should open it up for some great questions, so have at me.
I was wondering, real quick, what was the explanation you got on the double technical for Fierce? Because it looked like he got shoved, and then just wondering real quick what that was.
Yeah, somebody asked me, it was a strangely officiated game. I said, how in the hell could I complain about the officials when my team played like they did? So, you know what, I have no idea. They said that he said something back to him, and, I'm not sure. I don't know what DJ got a technical for, I think we're kind of quick-triggered a little bit, but I don't know. I was too disappointed how we were playing to worry about who was getting technicals. It didn't even faze me.
guy that had struggled a little bit lately, career high with 13 points, pretty efficient, and just what you saw from him today, coming back a little bit.
Boy, you guys are going to be mad at me. I was pleased with his offensive performance. He's been one of my best defensive players, and this year he's struggled in that area. And I didn't think we had our coverages as good, but I was happy that he offensively got some things, and what him and Cohen Carr have done, and give them a lot of credit. I don't know what Cohen was tonight from the line, 6 for 6 maybe, and Carson was 3 for 3. I mean, that's 9 for 9, and those guys have typically been like 4 for 9. So I think Carson, made some improvements there. We still got to get a lot more out of our bigs, if nothing else, defensively and rebounding the ball. Coop at least had 6, and Shimon had 9, but he got 3 or 4 of them at the end when they had a 6'4" guy on him when they went real small. So, it was okay.
Hey, Tom, can you take a moment with DJ returning to reflect on your legacy a little bit, how your coaching tree is extending, and also curious, could a little holiday hangover played a role in the way the young man responded today?
Yeah, as far as the holiday hangover, usually you'd see that on the day after Christmas when you come back. You have a 6 o'clock at night practice. We had 2 practices the next day. I mean, 2 of the better practices I had. I met with you guys, and I know you could tell I was excited about how we were. Now, one game doesn't bring me down. It just, I'm looking for us to be different. That's our battle cry. Be different. I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to have a holiday hangover. I've had a few of those the last couple of years. I don't want those anymore. And so that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. So I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm going to accept the win and move on. As far as DJ goes, played here 4 years. I recruited him out of high school. He played for me as an assistant, and then he worked for me for 17, 18 years. So I think more than what he's just given me, he's given the university. He was always a guy that did the right things. He was one of the best recruiters. I'll never forget when he was a freshman or sophomore. Chris Webber was coming up, and DJ was his host. And I'm saying to myself, I'm recruiting a guy and putting him in the hands of a guy, and that guy will probably replace the guy that's here. And DJ did it with class, and he did it so well. And that's when I knew, as a good recruiter, I thought he'd be a good recruiter as an assistant coach, and he was. But that kind of story tells it all, that he was bigger than himself. He was about the program, and I've always appreciated that about him. I will say this, he's had some major injuries, and he's had 2 or 3 guys out a lot, including that point guard who's really good. And he's only played, this was his 4th game. Now they win some of those games. So I think he's got pieces in that, that's a pretty good team. I mean, physical, they got size, they got guard play. I like his team. The Strickland kid is a chore. I thought Jeremy actually did a heck of a job on Willis. So I like his team. Now they better go into that league and do some damage, because I think they can if they can stay healthy. Right.
The 17 turnovers, it was something that you talked about coming into the game as being a concern. When you start heading towards Big Ten play, is maybe having a game like this now to kind of keep that on the forefront a good or a bad thing?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that you could get good out of here. I just think 12, 13 games in, if my team is mature enough, we shouldn't need that. That disappoints me. I think we're better than that. That's why I bring up those double Ds. Distractions and dirtbags. I mean, are those gonna? I talk to my team about them every day this week. If you let the distractions or the dirtbags get you, we're gonna be in trouble, and so is every other team. And today I felt like there were a little bit of distractions, and then. We got to solve that quickly, because we do have strength in numbers, But that's not easy as a coach to handle, and it's maybe not easy as a player. I think it is because they all get along, but I told you this too, the minutes will change a little bit. I'm still hoping to play 9-10 guys, but they could change a little bit because the best players are going to play. And today, we got into a situation too where they went really small. I mean, they had number 0, what was his name? Williams, I think 6'4", 6'5", was playing center for a while. And that creates some problems for us defensively, and our coverages were a little bit different. So remember this, I got to do a better job first. Okay, I got to make sure it doesn't happen. I mean, I asked Jaden, have I ever preached? After every practice, I had a little 10-minute team meeting about distractions, about handling Christmas, about what goes on now when people start talking about you. And I did it every day. I didn't do it enough. Because today that crowd was so ready to explode. It was so good. And we gave them nothing to explode. I almost got a technical just to get the crowd going. I felt bad for them. I should have just got one and said, hey, this is on me, fans. You guys were awesome. We weren't very good. I told my team that with about 4 minutes left to go in a huddle. I said, you let down 15,000 people today because they were ready to explode. And some of them, when you have a Christmas game over the holidays, you got to remember there's 3,000-4,000 students that weren't there. And so what it gives you is it gives people a chance that never saw you play. And it gives some little, my God, Isabel was at the game, I hope she doesn't get mad at me and tell me she didn't get the clap enough because we didn't do enough, But you get all those little kids that idolize you and want to get excited and want to get fired up, and we didn't give them much to. And that's not the way I want those people to know that this program is being run. So I'm gonna be a little hard on myself and my team over that.
And as far as turning the page goes, you're going into the full weight of the Big Ten schedule. You got 4 guys who haven't really gone through that. Jace, Jeremy, Frankie, and Simone. How do you prepare them for what's coming, and how confident are you in those guys?
Well, if you guys interview them, ask them, because after the game I let them know what I thought was coming, and I let them know how I think we're going to handle it, and it's going to be a little different. So I realized today it needs to be ratcheted up. Maybe I was feeling good talking to you guys, which I never feel that good talking to you guys, but maybe I was feeling good talking to you guys because I liked what we were doing. And I said, maybe my expectations were too low. So you always got to look in the mirror and blame this guy first, and then we'll disperse it out. But our leadership wasn't good enough today, and I told our captains that. And I told our coaches we got to do a better job, and we're going to do a better job. But this is a very good basketball team that's deep and can be exciting and can get a lot of things done. But we're not an over-talented basketball team like some I've had. So it is about the numbers. It is about a coach that we played early in the year said something to me that I thought was a compliment, but was also true. He said, every time I looked down, you were putting 2 or 3 guys in. And I kept saying to myself, we can't match that. And it was a pretty good team. And so I believe that. I believe we do have that, but all those guys got to play well. And we'll get better. We'll learn from this. Tomorrow's, I don't know, it's going to be fun. I told them we're going to maybe go back and New Year's Eve, practice at 8 and then practice at 6 in the morning, like it used to be the good old days. As long as some lawyer doesn't sue me. Yeah.
It's been over a year since the Fierce shooting now, this first game in over a year. What can you say about his resilience to kind of just go from there to getting back to this point to being, the leading catalyst for the offense?
I say all the time, Jeremy still gets frustrated where he is sometimes, I think it's remarkable what he's done. Incredible. He missed 8 months that he couldn't do almost anything. And what he's done he's not where he's going to be. I thought it would take till Christmas. It could take a little while longer. That's a long time to have off to be. He's improved his shooting greatly. To me, he's not quite as quick. And at the end there, he really got after it defensively. I think he can do that on a regular basis. So, I've never been through something like that, but I know what the injury was. I know what the doctors said. I know the fact that some say maybe he'd never be the same. He worked his tail off, and, sad that it happened, but he deserves a lot of credit for what he's done in bouncing back. One or two more?
I want to ask you about Frankie, about 13 games in. Where would you how's he stack up to what you had kind of anticipated for him, what you had envisioned when he first committed here?
I think Frankie's done a good job. He's gotten a lot of opportunity early, played very well over in Europe. Struggled a little bit, lately he hasn't shot the ball very well. He's shooting like 18% from the three, and I thought that's one thing he would do. But I think since he's come back from Christmas, he really shot the ball well in practice. I don't know what he was tonight, 1 for 6, so he didn't shoot it as well either. But he has the ability to get fouled. He has the ability to get to the free throw line, and he makes. He's shooting like 94% from the line. He's still going to be valuable. It's been a little tricky with all these different teams we've played. Now when you start playing Big Ten teams, you have a little better idea, what you're getting. We'll have a little more scouting on them. Some of these teams, they were guys from all over. I think this will help him now to get back into some structure. And, he's been good. He hasn't been great yet, but it's very difficult to go from one level to another level and everything go right. There's guys all over the country that aren't even playing that have transferred. It's difficult, and I think he's hung in there pretty good.
Hey, Coach. Coach Stevens was saying that when he saw this team today, it reminded him of that 2005 team, especially with the depth that you guys have. What do you think it is about this team, other than that is making people turn their heads and say, I know it's early on, of course, but, this team, they might make a run for it. Got something like that.
I hope you're right. Well, I think one thing is we do have the depth that team had. Maybe not quite the talent and the experience, but we have the depth that team had. Cohen is a human highlight reel and an unbelievable kid. I love him. He was the one guy today that every huddle was trying to get our guys to. He saw what was missing, and we didn't get to him out on the break like we normally do. But I think people see that, and I think people see a bunch of guys that get along, and this day and age, that's really important. We're kind of an entitlement, selfish era right now, and I don't think these guys are entitled or selfish. And so I think people see that. I think it's easy to see, Today, I guess I'd be interesting to ask you guys a question. Did we look different to you? Didn't seem like we had the zip, or we had we just weren't the same. So, maybe we're getting ready for Big Ten play. That's normal. It's normal when you're a 20-some point favorite, I guess. That was brought up to me. It means nothing to me, but I'm not on that social crap like most people are, and so I don't see it. So it doesn't faze me. It doesn't bother me, but they see it. They see it all the time, and so maybe that was some of it, and maybe just to be very frank about it, I'm probably not giving due justice. His team played hard. I'm going to tell you one thing about coaching, if you ask me, and I told him this after the game. If you can get your team to play hard, you've done a hell of a job coaching. That's hard to do today. You've got to drive people and you got to motivate people a little differently. And his team played hard, and that is shown by the rebounding they did. I'm going to be upset with him and that team if they don't make some noise in that league, because I think he's got pieces. He's got to keep them healthy. You can't have a guy as quarterback miss 9 out of 12 games. Can't have that. Can't have a couple other guys that are in and out hurt. It's hard to have that, especially when you're trying to develop some culture. But I liked his guys. I think they had some toughness to them. I really liked his team. I liked his pieces. Now the hard part, he got the pieces to play hard. Now he's got to get the pieces to play together. If he can do that, then he'll do a hell of a job. So you guys all behave yourself on New Year's Eve, all right? If you're bored, we might be practicing that night, depending on how tomorrow goes. But enjoy New Year's, and let's hope that we all have New Year's resolutions. And, one of mine